And we're coming to you live from the Middle Fort Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti, it's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcasts across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Tuesday morning, a very busy day in the NFL. Locally, we had Aaron Glenn kind of backtracking on some of the stuff he said and some of the decisions he made on Sunday out in London, so I guess that was a little bit of an encouraging sign that he identified some mistakes and realized that not everything was perfect, and maybe he should have thought about sitting Justin Fields down, and maybe he should have tried a Hail Mary and some of these other things that we were criticizing yesterday. Speaking of bad head coaches, the first head coach in 2025 fired. You've got the Tennessee Titans, who bring in a general manager the year after they bring in a head coach in Brian Callahan, just to fire that guy. So that timeline makes zero sense as Mike Borgonzi comes in and says, you're not the guy I hired. You get the hell out of here. And then we get two Monday night games. You got the Atlanta Falcons flexing their muscles against the Buffalo Bills, and they got to figure things out. They got a bye week coming up. And then the Washington Commanders, they end up losing to the Chicago Bears on a last-second field goal. And you said yesterday to me, Boomer, ooh, if the Commanders lose, maybe, just maybe, we start thinking about the New York Giants just a little bit more in that NFC East. Hi, Boomer, good morning. How are you?
All right, good morning, G. Yeah, I mean, exciting games last night for sure. You know, I think Atlanta made a statement last night by drilling the Bills, and now the New England Patriots are in first place in the AFC East. And, of course, the Bears with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams all of a sudden look like a completely different team than they were last year, although Washington was making all sorts of mistakes all over the place last night. But, yeah, I mean, now all of a sudden Washington loses. The Giants feel a little bit better about themselves. They got two tough games here the next 2 weeks. Philadelphia's got all sorts of drama internally. I mean, this is the NFL, and we are heading into Week 7. And we still have, you know, essentially 2/3 of the season to go. But already a lot of things starting to shake out. And, again, it's a war of attrition, as we know. And when we look at, like,
Hey, Al. How's it going, man? What's going on? What do you got? There's a coffee for me. Oh, look at Al. Stepping up on this Tuesday.
I appreciate that, Al. Thank you very much. Yeah, so here we are, Week 7, man, and already things are jumbled up. And I think a couple teams are starting to come back to the pack, and that is, when I say back to the pack, I should say back to where they belong, and that's Kansas City Chiefs. I still think, you know, they are going to be one of the top teams, especially when he got both of his wide receivers back, and when Rashee Rice does come back, there's going to be more speed for the Kansas City Chiefs. They've kind of hung on. They're sitting here at 500. But, you know, this is, you know, for us here in New York, I mean, you know, Aaron Glenn still defending Justin Fields and his decision to play with him on Sunday, which is mind-boggling to me as a former quarterback.
Yeah.
And I would just say the Giants now all of a sudden there's a little pep in their step, and teams around them, all three teams around them lost, and that's all you need just to get yourself a little bit more motivated to try to do something that would be very special for sure. But you look at their schedule, and they still have to play that NFC North, and that's going to be a gauntlet.
Yeah, especially with the Bears playing a little bit better as well. But, you know, really, these teams have been done so early in the season that the fact that we even have a football game in Week 7 that you get excited about for the Jets and Giants is a start. And I understand that the bar is very, very low there, but all of us have seen it. Every football fan in New York knows what we're talking about. And, yeah, 2-4 is not a good record. However, 2-4, when things are trending up and everybody in division's trending down at this very moment, makes you believe a little bit. But you have to go into Denver. You've got to win that game for this thing to get at a fever pitch, because they could very easily go out there, struggle offensively, give up a bunch of sacks, all the things that we see that the Denver Broncos do. And, of course, they're coming off this terrible offensive game, so you know that Sean Payton's going to be making sure that that doesn't happen again. So, yeah, this is a very interesting football game, and one that matters for the New York Giants in Week 7. And, yeah, that sounds like a moral victory spot, whatever, but generally when we get here to Week 7, things are dead. Everybody's dead. It's done. It's over. And the Giants have a heartbeat for the first time in a long time.
And that heartbeat starts with Jaxson Dart and Cam Scatterbo. I mean, these two kids, have ignited this franchise, much like Jaden Daniels and, well, we thought Caleb Williams last year, but finally this year with Ben Johnson, are igniting their franchises. I mean, that's really what it takes. And right now, there's a third of the league that doesn't have a guy even remotely close to that leading their team. But anything is possible with this kid, Jaxson Dart, assuming, he can stay upright, stay healthy, and be smart on the field and not take any flush shots, especially around the shoulders. You don't want to see separated shoulders. You don't want to see, broken collarbones and things of that nature.
This is a defense that could do it to you. I'm not being negative about it, but they put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. As we know, they're on pace, especially after a 9-sack game. To
but
break
the 9-sack
all-time
game was mainly, it's funny. As I was walking here, Pat Boyle goes, I think it was more their offensive line than Justin Fields. And I'm like, did you ever play quarterback in this league? No, you didn't. That's the only time. That's the last time I actually invoked that.
You did.
I did, and I guess it's the popular thing the go against the grain thing is to say that it's the offensive line. I would tell you that if I was an offensive lineman and my quarterback took 9 sacks, I want to bring his neck.
Well, but
it's ridiculous.
That stat out there though proves that theory wrong.
Yeah, the amount of time that he has to throw.
He had more time than any quarterback that played on Sunday to throw the ball, and he got sacked more than any of them. So there you go, right there.
I wish I had a direct line to Aaron Glenn on Sunday. I wish I would have been able to say to him, as opposed to Garrett Wilson yelling at him as they're going into the locker room, I wish I could have said, look, let's sit down Justin Fields. He doesn't have it today. And let's put in Tyrod Taylor. Let's see if we can win this game. Because we have a chance to win this game. But we have to get some sort of offense going in order to win the game. And it's okay that we're sitting our guy down. We're going to play this other guy. And then after the game, we're going to laud Tyrod Taylor if we win the game. Tell everybody how great he is. He's a great backup. He's a great teammate. But Justin Fields will be starting our next home game against Carolina. That's the practical, very matter-of-fact way to do it. It's not like you drafted Justin Fields. It's not like you're Chicago.
Yeah.
And you're year 2 into Justin Fields. That's that, you're not Carolina and you're year 3 into Bryce Young. You know what I mean? Like, you don't owe this guy anything.
Except the money that you paid him in the offseason.
That's somebody made that decision, and whoever made that decision at the end of the year most likely should be fired.
Well, it's probably Darren Muji, and he's not going to be.
Well, he had to be told by somebody. I don't know if it was Aaron, because Aaron had seen him in that division when he was the defense coordinator for the Lions. I'm not sure, but it's okay to say, hey, you know what? He doesn't have it today. Let's sit him down and let's go. And this is the practical, very matter-of-fact way of doing things, as opposed to being pig-headed and stubborn and saying, I'm sticking with my guy. Sticking with your guy who threw for minus 13 yards is not the kind of guy you want to be sticking with.
Yeah, and I was driving home, and I was listening to BT and Sal talk about this, and Sal brought up the point, well, Tyrod Taylor's not that much better than Justin Fields, and when you saw him play, it wasn't a great offensive performance, and this
Tampa.
and that, and what's the difference? And I totally disagree with it, and BT was sort of disagreeing with it. He just seemed so discouraged with the Jets. But, I mean, when a guy is in that mode where he is either scared, confused, I don't know what word you want to use. You said locked up, where he is incapable of playing the position, which is what we saw. We all saw it. He was incapable of playing quarterback in that game. You do make a change to Tyrod Taylor. And the discussion about, well, okay, what's really the difference between 0-6 and 1-5? They're not going anywhere. Here's the difference. If they actually win a football game, things feel different in that building. They show up. They believe in themselves. Hey, we beat the Denver Broncos. Okay, maybe this thing is going in the right direction. But once again, it's another example of a game that they could have won and they lost because of all the stupid things that they did. Now they show up at the facility again going, God, I mean, it was Breece Hall that flat out said a couple weeks ago, we can't win. And that continues to be the cloud over Florham Park until they end up doing it.
Well, especially with what Garrett Wilson said after this game. I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
and
right.
That's look, I was there in 95. I mean, I know exactly what Garrett Wilson's talking about, and I was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And I would walk into a meeting room and say, what exactly are we trying to do? What What is the communication that we are trying to give to everybody in our offensive meeting rooms? I wasn't talking about defense. I wasn't talking about special teams. I was just talking about what I knew. And I wanted to know if everybody was on the same page. And I said, when you're out there on the field and you're calling a play and a guy looks at you like, what do I do? We're in trouble. Because all it takes on offense is one guy to make a mistake or not be locked in or understand what you're trying to accomplish and the concepts of the pass plays that you're trying to run. All right, so I just, again, you're sticking with the quarterback that took 9 sacks and threw for 45 yards. Okay, great. We got a chance now. Everybody in that locker room is going to be waiting come Sunday and what this is going to look like. Whatever Tana Engstrom can do to help Justin Fields get off to a good start, it will be paramount to keeping the fans at bay.
Yeah, and Aaron Glenn did backtrack a little bit on the Justin Fields thing. At least it admitted the fact that it was really bad, but then also said he's not going to bench him essentially, and he's going to start in the game. But then he also he went back and reevaluated what happened at the end of the first half, and he changed that. So. I mean, we knew
these
there was
are learning experiences.
Right. I mean, it's a learning curve. I understand but it's not a learning curve for everybody that takes these jobs in other places or here. I mean, we've actually seen the opposite, which is interesting. Maybe this works out a different way because we've seen a lot of head coaches come here, especially with the Jets, where year one is good and then the rest of the years are terrible. And maybe this is going to be year one is terrible and the rest of the years are great. I don't know. But the fact remains that early on in this season, he does not look like he was ready to be a head coach. And that can change, and he's a smart guy, and he can go through this season and learn everything, and maybe they just chalk this up to a year that was never going to be anything, and boy, this was the building block of the foundation that was poured for this franchise to be great. But right now, he's a guy that's in over his head. And probably should not be a head coach.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, Boomer. That's what we do here, right?
When the offense is on the field, what's the object?
Well, to score a touchdown.
All right.
And you don't think that they're trying to score touchdowns with Justin Fields as a quarterback?
At the second half, first half they weren't.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah.
And I don't think they were even trying to score a touchdown at the end of the game. I think maybe they were trying to get at the field goal range.
Oh, yeah, that's all they needed was
and of course, Garrett Wilson gets hurt on an inaccurate throw.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and there's too many of those.
And by the way, it's no lock that he avoided serious injury. Doesn't mean that he's going to play this week.
I don't think he's playing this week.
I mean, you take him out of the equation now with what we saw.
Yeah, but
Sunday.
What about Jaxson Dart? They took Malik Neighbors out of the equation. Look at Jaxson Dart. He lifted everybody up around him.
Yeah, but the difference is Justin Fields sucks. So it makes it worse when you take away one of his wide receivers.
I'm not
going
to use the word sucks. I'm going to use the word, just erratic. Inconsistent. I mean, he is an NFL quarterback. He's been there. I know what you're talking about.
I mean, we all know the reason why certain guys can step up when your best wide receiver is gone, and then there's guys that just aren't cut out for that, and then they lose a weapon and they get worse.
How about a rookie? A rookie creating opportunities for Wan'Dale Robinson, for little Jordan Humphrey.
Yeah.
I mean, like Theo Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what?
Yeah,
I mean, this is what a stud QB does. I mean, it's he obviously needs his best players out on the field, and you want your best players out on the field. But when they're not there, you have to overcome that. I'm sorry, you just have to overcome that, and that's exactly what Jaxson Dart did the other night against Philadelphia. He overcame all of that.
Yeah, and he's going to face a really tough defense in a tough environment. In Denver, and this is going to be a real test for him. I mean, it's exciting to think about.
It is. I can't wait to see what it looks like. I mean, it's actually must-watch TV now because, he has created opportunities for other players. He runs around, makes guys miss. Look, 9 sacks are because the quarterback's sitting back there holding the football. And if I'm Brian Dable, I'm Mike Kafka, and I'm like, okay, we got to get, we just got to keep working on it, keep getting ready, just keep getting rid of the football. Yeah. You still can make your secondary plays for sure, but let's not always have to fall back on that. Let's read defenses, let's go through the concepts, and let's get rid of the football and take some pressure off of the offensive line when it comes to pass blocking.
Yeah, I was thinking it actually, I think, is a huge help for the Giants to have this Jet game on tape be the last game that the Broncos played, because Brian Daboll can explain exactly how those non-sacks happen and say, listen, we're not doing this. You get rid of the ball. This is why they got that sack. Jackson, don't do that. This is how you get rid of the ball. I mean, it's really a perfect way to say, do the exact opposite of what the Jets offense did.
Well, yeah, I mean, but this is the thing about Justin Fields. This is who he has been as a player at this level. He's been inconsistent and he's been erratic. There are times where he looks really good, and then more than half the time he looks the way he looked on Sunday, and that is just kind of all over the place, nervous, twitchy, locked up. When I say locked up, he's just afraid to just let it roll. Which is amazing, because in that first game against Pittsburgh, man, he let it go. But they didn't put him out there throwing 40 times a game. But there were guys open. He hit guys in stride. He made runs. I don't know. He had a concussion against the Bills. I don't know if it's still affecting him. That could be part of the case. I don't know. I mean, these are things that we don't have answers to.
Yeah, I mean, I would. Yeah. That would. He obviously has been cleared, though, and there's a
I'm not
protocol,
saying, yeah, of course he's been cleared.
So it's not.
And
like
he wants to play.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not that he doesn't want to play. He wants to be out there.
Yeah, I mean, and it's there. There is something important, as you mentioned, that Justin Fields isn't a guy that they drafted. The future of this organization isn't pinned on him. So, but what is important is making that locker room believe that this team and this new regime is doing something correctly. And if that means that Tyrod Taylor's got to go out there and help them win a game because he's 10% better or 20% better than Justin Fields, and that's what you got to do.
He would have been 100% better on Sunday.
Yeah,
he would have been.
Yeah,
he would have 100% been better on Sunday in the second half. And there's no question in my mind that I don't know if it's a defensive head coach. It's interesting. Pete Carroll, defensive head coach. He's sticking with his quarterback, Geno Smith. They play the Titans this past week. They beat the Titans. Obviously, Brian Callahan gets fired from Tennessee. And now, Pete Carroll, the defensive head coach, at least has a week to breathe, because he's stuck with his quarterback who has been throwing interceptions and costing them games. And there's no rhyme or reason why Geno's doing that.
Yeah. They have a history.
They do have a history together.
History.
There's no question about it. And I know that Pete really does respect Geno, but if the quarterback is indiscriminately throwing interceptions, now there also could be other reasons why those interceptions are being thrown. Wrong routes, pressure, there's all those things you have to take into account. But that was not the case this past Sunday.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Just getting started on this Tuesday morning. Jerry Recco joins us with an update in a couple minutes.